Rob Van Dam, listen to True Hill Heat. Pow.
Hey guys, this is Rosa and welcome to True Hill Heat.
What's up, True Hill Heat? True Hill Heat. What's up? True Hill Heat. All hands is on me. Hello everyone, it's the hardcore legend Mick Foley wishing a nice day to everyone there, right there at True Heel Heat. Yeah!
Yo, what up? You know what it is. It's your boy AJ Francis reporting to you live from New York City, the birthplace of hip-hop. And I'm telling you that I'm only tuned in with True Heel Heat Wrestling. Holla at me.
Hello, hello, hello. It is me, your True Hill Phenom, SP3. We are live on the True Hill Heat, YouTube, Facebook, and Twitter for our NJPW Wrestling Dontaku 2024 review. And the whole band is here. Our New Japan trios, our never open weight 6-man tag team champions are here. I am joined first up by the MC of the past, present, and future of NJPW here on True Hill Heat YouTube channel. It's your boy, J News.
Good morning, good afternoon, and good evening, ladies and gentlemen. I am here. It is time. The three of us have finally reunited, and it feels so good. Much like Zack and Tai Chi and Chris Brooks this morning. You know, it is a good time to be on True Heel Heat. It is I, your good brother Jay News, and we're back at it again, talking about that Wrestling Dontaku over the weekend. We got some things to talk about, y'all. But go ahead, SPD.
For sure, but of course, to do that, we got to be joined by the third member of our team, the bright light of our team here, the biggest NJPW fan around. It is Sonal. How are you doing?
I'm doing well. I mean, I've spent the weekend trying to get New Japan to hire me with all the news going on. But we're here to talk about Dontaku, so we're going to leave that in the past. But, Gato, as we all know, you watch True Heel Heat all the time.
This is true.
Hit me up on Twitter.
Hit her up. Come on, man. You got to get some representation in there. Come on. You got to listen to some new ideas, Gato. You need some new ideas.
Really does.
With what a majority of these shows were. But yes, we're going to talk about Wrestling Dontaku nights 1 and 2 from this past weekend, May 3rd and May 4th. We appreciate y'all if you're watching us live. We appreciate y'all if you're watching us on demand. Remember to show your appreciation back the simplest way possible. Drop the thumbs up on this video. You could share this video with all your wrestling fans, friends, and family on all your favorite social media platforms. If you're new to the True Hill Heat YouTube channel, channel, hit that subscribe button, hit the bell to stay notified for all the great content here. And of course, sound off in the live chat. We love to interact with all of you. And of course, if you're feeling generous, you want to make sure we highlight your comment on screen. You can do that with a super chat donation. Any dollar amount matters. We always appreciate the support, and it always gives back to the contributors that you see on screen with us here. But we got here Pastor Cody Mitchell. He says, definitely a contender, talking about Shingo Takagi versus Gabe Kidd from Wrestling Dontaku. He says, I'm looking forward to Saturday when we got New Japan Pro Wrestling Resurgence in Ontario, California. We're going to do a preview for that. We also got the start of the Best of the Super Juniors tournament. We'll probably do a preview for that as well. But Wrestling Dontaku, before we get into things with match by match, what went down nights 1 and 2, Sonal, your overall thoughts for the Wrestling Dontaku 2-night event?
I honestly didn't mind it. I thought it was a really good, like, it was a decent 2 shows. There's quite a lot of changes that went on, with like titles, new storylines going forward. Obviously, a lot building towards not just Resurgence, but like you mentioned, my favorite time of the year, the Best of Super Junior. So I personally didn't see it. There were some standouts, and there were some matches where we'll speak about this. Gator really needs to get himself sorted, because it's just a bit the same. And as you can probably guess this if you watch True Heel Heat, it's on the topic of Heel of Torture. Oh no, Heel of Torture. House of Torture. Where am I getting this from? House of Torture.
Heel of Torture. We got our own variant of the house. Heel of Torture.
Oh, I think I got so confused. Yeah, when it comes to the House of Torture, things need to be sorted out. But like I said, there was some nice storylines, some very interesting title changes. But we'll talk about that once the matches happen.
I would be the Jack Perry in Heel of Torture. I just wanted to just call dibs on
Probably
Jack
the
Perry.
best role to do if you're going to count with the heel, like the House of Torture.
He's the only one that's been elevated by joining House of Torture.
But you left after like a month.
And Jordan, a real stable. Jay News, what's your overall thoughts on the 2-night event, Wrestling Dontaku?
My overall thoughts are the following. It should have been 1 night. That's my overall thought.
I was surprised that it was cool. I didn't actually realize.
I'm very happy someone said it, because you're absolutely right. If this was a 1-night event, this would have been a good show.
It would have been.
Instead we got 1 mid-show and 1 decent show.
Right.
And we're not like comparing it. Remember when Wrestle Kingdom was two nights, and everyone said should have just been 1, and then they reverted it back to 1 night, and suddenly it was like great again.
Yeah,
it has been great the last 2 years.
1 night should have been fine. We get rid of all the tag team clogging of the matches that are unnecessary to certain degrees. Right?
See, we
don't have to see the House of Torture 7 times in 2 nights.
You know this is true. He makes good points. He makes good points.
You know,
that point is the problem is there's so many of them.
Yeah. It's
just take over.
And then there's the Bullet Club adjacent. That's what I'm calling them, the Bullet Club adjacent, which only has 1 good member in the Bullet Club adjacent, and that's Taiji Ishimori. But Chase Owens, Kenta, who else is in Bullet Club adjacent? They don't show up.
I was gonna say like Finlay and that.
Yeah, they don't show up. But yeah, anyone in Bullet Club adjacent or House of Torture, I'm just like.
However, I feel so sad now, because like I am loving War Dogs, but they're still under the same banner. Do you know what I mean? Until something is sorted out, you unfortunately have to link up the War Dogs with the House of Torture and everyone else, which is really sad, because God damn it, I love the War Dogs.
I love the War Dogs too, but it's just like the Bullet Club moniker of the War. That's why I've legit started calling them War Dogs. I don't even call them by the Bullet Club name.
Yeah,
it's like the Elite. It's like the Elite. They became their own thing after only less than a year. They've already became their own thing.
Yeah. I think that at the end of the day, the War Dogs, to SP3's point, they're just the War Dogs at this point. It's not the Bullet Club War Dogs. They're just the War Dogs. And as always, to make the pun, those my dogs for real. So at the end of the day, that's the way it's gonna be.
Well, speaking of dogs for real, some people say that the only thing realer is Gorilla. What
Oh,
did you guys think
oh,
about
oh,
Gorillas of
oh,
Destiny
oh.
in WWE?
I got a DM about it, so because obviously Backlash was on, and I don't follow WWE, so I didn't realize it was in Oslo, which is Europe, which is more my time.
Yeah.
So when somebody DM'd me, Tangaloa is in WWE, I thought this isn't right. It might be a rumor or something, and then I saw the clip, and I was like, oh. That's literally. Oh, and another thing I added was, let's create a GoFundMe page to ensure that our top favorite Gaikokujins stay in New Japan. The Gabriel kids, the ELPs. We need to put a fund together because at this moment nobody is safe.
Nobody is safe. We already had the news confirmed by Fightful. Hikaleo's contract ends in June, and I saw you, Sonal, on social media, and I hate to tell you, it's not looking like good for Hikaleo staying in the NJPW right now.
Can I put something out there? And this, people might disagree, depends on how you feel about Hikaleo. In one sense, it makes perfect sense for WWE to want Hikaleo.
Yeah.
Not only have they got the two brothers, they've got Bloodline. Hikaleo seems like the perfect WWE star. However, I worry that all of this progress we've seen from Hikaleo, especially since he started teaming with ELP.
Yep.
So he has gone from because we spoke about this when the match with Jay White where it was loser leaves.
Yeah.
Hikaleo after that he was just a bit bland. He even said that when I interviewed him. He was a bit bland. He was just that big guy, meant to be quite scary. But now he's captured the hearts of the audiences. He's come on so much more inside the ring. And I worry that if he goes to WWE, there's no he's going to turn heel, quit straight away, join the Bloodline with his brothers. And I worry that he is now going to be pushed from being in New Japan, the tallest man in the roster and someone who stands out, to just one of many guys.
I mean, he's still going to be one of the tallest guys in the
but
company if he goes to WWE. Trust. But I understand what you're saying. I think Hikaleo would have to go. I would like him to go more of the route of what Solo did, where Solo came into WWE around the time where the Bloodline was being put together with Roman and the Usos, but they kept him on NXT for a year and then had him debut on the main roster with the Bloodline. The Bloodline is something that it seems like it's going to keep going. This is like a multi-year storyline that they just keep finding more Pacific Islanders to add to this group to give it different versions. This is more of an unhinged version with Tama Tonga being presented very well since his WWE debut and the big debut for Tonga Loa. I think that it makes more sense now why they did the whole GOD versus GOD matchup, because it was really the big farewell for Tonga Loa. They just didn't make a big deal about it. They were just like, nah, we're happy you're going. Actually.
I didn't even know his contract. Somebody said that he actually wasn't under contract. Someone said he was. Someone said he was doing a pay-per event. So it was all just whereas Tama made a big song and dance about it. I just thought, oh, well, Tangaloa, he doesn't always do the tours. I just thought, oh, well, he's not going to be here for this one.
Yeah.
He fooled us all.
He fooled everybody. That's why I gave credit to WWE during our Backlash review, that this was one that no one saw coming. So I give them credit. I don't know why there's a lot of WWE fans that's that excited. I mean,
do you see the gif of the video of Tangaloa and his punches with Okada going viral after that announcement?
his 619 attempt. I saw that went viral.
Yeah.
Jay News.
I know that I can't control this, but to the whoever is listening, please make Hikaleo stay in New Japan, please.
We love you, Hikaleo. That's what Sonal's trying to say. Anybody who wants to clip this and tag him, we love you. We want you to stay in New Japan for as long as you can. But if you're gonna get the bag, we still love you.
Yeah, we're not gonna hate on you for getting the dosh, but
exactly.
We would like to say.
Jay News, you've been very quiet. What was your thoughts on the Gorillas of Destiny coming to WWE?
Mixed feelings, really. There's a side of me in where I say to what you guys just talked about, get the money, get the bag, man. At the end of the day, if you can do what Carl and Luke are doing and sit your asses at home for the majority of the time and collect a paycheck, get her done, son. Get her done.
I'm all about the boys getting paid.
I'm all about the boys getting paid. You know me. Get them ducats. You know what I'm saying? But in all honesty, as I say all the time, the internet is the most toxic place on the planet. And when I go on to find out, because I wasn't going to watch Backlash, I was like, okay, so what happened at Backlash? Let me get on the Twitcher space. Let me see what's the goings-ons. I see Tongaloa's photo coming up.
Oh, SP3.
And he'll be back. And then I was like, wait a minute. Did he really just debut in France? And, he came out from under the ring. He did the whole attack bit. There was one particular angle of him coming out from under the ring, which looked semi-funny and embarrassing.
I saw that one. I did.
And then people were like, oh, he's already botching stuff. Right? And I'm here like, cut the man some goddamn slack. He had to be under that ring for God knows how long.
That is true.
And then he got covered with something or whatever. And it's like, all right, but on top of everything else, I'll say this, man. I'll say this. There was a narrative being spun online, which I took to heart. And it was a narrative about God not being a very good tag team.
I
think
I saw that. I saw that as well.
And I said to myself, where is this coming from? How? I get it that Tongaloa wasn't the best singles wrestler. I get that Tama's singles run came late. But as a tag team, I was like, God made that IWGP Heavyweight Championship, that particular division, for damn near a decade. If it wasn't for them, they wouldn't have had a division.
Sorry to just be like, because I didn't look at it properly. Who was saying, was this New Japan fans or WWE fans or just like random fans?
Just random wrestling people who end up on my freaking X feed. Like, I don't know if they're WWE fans. I don't know if they're pro wrestling fans. I had a discussion with Dolores this morning about this, about there is a difference between WWE fans and pro wrestling fans.
Yeah.
And the same thing goes for AEW stans and pro wrestling fans. They are fans of professional wrestling. I am a fan of professional wrestling. At the end of the day, I watch everything. But to hear or see or read the narrative that the Guerrillas of Destiny were a bad tag team, to me is like, you don't even watch. You've never watched. No. Don't open your mouth. They're not a bad tag team. What are you talking about?
They're a legacy in New Japan as one of the best tag teams.
Absolutely, and they did their bid in America here and there when they did their runs in ROH and things of that nature and whatnot. Even made appearances on TNA from time to time. But at the end of the day, they're not a bad tag team.
Now, I'm just gonna I'll play a little devil's advocate here, because I understand that, there probably is people that are idiots that are saying God is not a good tag team. But I think maybe there's also the people out there that saying that God is this great all-time tag team because of what they accomplished in New Japan. And I think that may be why there's other people that be like, oh, they're not a good tag team. It's like the balancing act of, God was a good tag team. It has a legacy in New Japan. It held down. It basically was the bridge after the Good Brothers left. They were the kind of the mainstays of the heavyweight tag team division until we had kind of other pairs that kind of sprouted up, like the Dangerous Techers and Bishamon and stuff like that. So and Aussie Open. So it's good that we had God, but God is not on the level of, say, the Young Bucks or the
I'm
not saying you're saying that. I'm saying I'm bringing more of like a general kind of broad perspective because I know you're focusing more on the people that saying they're not a good tag team, but I also seen people that say like they're one of the greatest New Japan tag teams of all time. And I'm like, whoa, okay.
I think there's a bit too many extremes. I think whenever anything like this happens, it's always the extremes. You'll never get the ones who can acknowledge and say, GOD might not be for everyone one of their best tag teams. But for example, for me, who's someone who only started watching wrestling in 2018 and very quickly focused on New Japan, for me, GOD was one of the best. But that is just because my spread of tag teams isn't as large.
Yeah.
But then I guess the problem comes when, like SP3 is saying, is people are going on the extremes. Like, they're one of the best tag teams. They're not a good tag team at all. And it's like, when people get passionate about things or they want to do it, going to the extremes is never, like, it's always going to just cause issues. And I agree with Jane, who's like, I was offended seeing that. But I understand people who might not like GOD, who might not.
Yeah. You can have your likes and dislikes. You know what I'm saying? Preference is essential to human existence. But don't sit here and tell me, oh yeah, they're like the worst tag team or they're a bad tag team. It's like
you can't even class them as bad because they had matches with so many people. Never bad. Like Jane, you said, there's always an acknowledgement that Tanga Loa is not the best singles wrestler. But then he'll probably say that the same. Like, he'll probably put his hand up and say, yeah, like, singles is not for me. But to discredit what they've done as a tag team, wrestling aside, just generally, like both of you have said, keeping up a division for so long that really tends to suffer, like, they should get kudos for that.
Yeah. And to finish the whole thing off, and I'll say this, because I'll say this to the cows come home. Nuance is a thing. The extremes are going to kill us all. And that is all I have to say about that. Tanga Loa get that bag. King Haku, your boys, they making that money. You know what I'm saying? Let it rain in that house in Florida. And do the damn thing. You know what I'm saying? But hopefully good things come for those guys. Maybe they make a tag team run, maybe not. I don't know what the deal is going to be going forward for GOD in the WWE. But we shall see.
I just want to point out they're also both really nice guys, and you can see that they love the industry. So to see, like, because both of them have been wrestling for a long time, obviously Tamba for much longer, and to see that they're getting it, and obviously, and it's like most foreign wrestlers in Japan, as you get older and you want to settle down, it becomes unrealistic traveling to and from Japan. So, and you know what I mean?
Yeah, I've been singing the praises of Tama Tonga in WWE because they recaptured the Tama Tonga that I first discovered when I first started watching New Japan with him as a member of the Bullet Club. That kind of like wild savage, that wild card of the Bullet Club that he was. He's become that for the Bloodline, so I gave him a lot of credit. A big stage for them to do the debut of Tanga Loa, so going in a good direction. They got Jacob Fatu still in the waiting to debut for the Bloodline, so it's a very interesting time, and it seems like we are seeing that Triple H is also a big fan of 2014-2015 New Japan Pro Wrestling because he is collecting every single Bullet Club member from around that time of Finn Balor, the Good Brothers, the Gorillas of Destiny, AJ Styles, Cody Rhodes.
Massive New Japan fan. It's why they can now mention New Japan on television. You know, that whole thing with Big E and
oh my God, Michael Cole saying Tama Tonga had classic battles with Evil.
Wait, did they say that?
Yes, he did. Absolutely.
Yes, he did.
Absolutely.
Yes, he did.
Classic and
Classic.
Evil.
Yep.
Doesn't work. That's not meant to fit together.
I was like, someone went to Wikipedia to find out these matches instead of cage match.
Was it like, didn't he win the final one with his Neville? That was Shingo, isn't it?
Yeah.
Could they have not just said that? That I would have been like, okay, not.
He mentioned Carl Anderson, Kenta, and Evil. I was like, did you like pick his worst matches?
But Bullet Club fan, innit? The Bullet Club. Just listing like, all the Bullet Club.
Yeah, they list the people that it was like, we know you know these people.
You know, the interesting part about all this, with all the different members of the Bloodline, also being former Bullet Club members, is that for all intents and purposes, if this was to be a thing, I'm not sure it's going to be, but it can be.
Let's not put in the air WWE trying to do Bullet Club.
Look. I'm not saying that. I'm not saying that. All I'm saying
because
is
it's only 2 members of the Bullet Club in the Bloodline right now.
Correct. What I'm saying is they could you can always tease everything, right? In passing backstage, much like what they did with the new Bloodline passing by Jay in the back before Jay's match. You know what I'm saying? You might see, the Bloodline pass by the Judgment Day and Finn take a look at Tama. You know what I'm saying? Things of that nature.
I would watch WWE for that.
That would be great.
I'd find
That would
a
be
way
nice.
to do it.
That's the only one of those that sounds interesting, because the Bloodline walking by the OC, I'm like, what, the OC in catering? I'm just saying. I'm sorry if that was too harsh.
Hey man, Carl looks good, by the way. You know what I'm saying? Carl's out there.
Hey, he looks in the best shape of his life. He had a lot of time on his hands to get in that shape.
He's actually having matches though.
On NXT, yes, in front of 100 people who don't pay to get there. Sean says, sorry, I don't watch Weinstein Wrestling Entertainment. Y'all are wild for that one. We got Josh who says, I think you still have to appreciate WWE mentioning other companies, even if those mentions aren't 100% accurate. Yeah, no, I appreciate it, Josh. I appreciate it more him saying that Tama Tonga was a 4-time never open weight champion.
Yeah.
Because they only really mentioned like the IWGP title. So that was the thing that I appreciated more.
Also, technically accurate in the sense that, what, Tama has had matches with them. It's the word legendary. that has something to be desired. Maybe breakworthy?
He had battles. He had battles with the likes you don't have to put classic battles. You could just say battles, and that would be accurate.
Right.
Classic matches with Evil. That is something that I never want to hear. Well, I mean, it'd be nice to hear that again, but it's something we're never going to hear. It's never going to come out of anyone's mouth.
Dustin says, Loa in the Fed, Hikaleo coming too.
No. Don't do this to me, please. God, I can't keep losing them all.
You can't keep fighting the inevitability.
No, I was saying this though to someone. Like, it's interesting though that obviously for like the past year and a half, it's been they're all going to AEW. It's actually a quite nice change to have them turn up in WWE. It's something different.
It seems this is another comment that keeps on the narrative, should I say, that keeps on spinning online, is that AEW is now uncool. Yeah. So people don't want to go there.
People don't want to go there anymore. I don't think it's
to the uncool company.
I think it's not me just hating on AEW, because like generally I watch it a lot more now because obviously there are more people in it. It is just that top of the card is so oversaturated that it's become uncool, but people realize that if they end up going there, they're not going to get the spot that they might get elsewhere. Like Tama Tonga and Tangaloa, no way we're going to go to AEW and get this big spotlight on them.
No, but at the end of the day, I think what people need to realize is, and this is the reality of the situation, not everybody is meant to be a top guy. Let's be real, okay? Not everyone is a top guy, okay?
And you're seeing that in writing what Jay News is saying to be true with Andrade.
Yeah,
Andrade thought he was going to leave WWE and get a top spot in AEW, but AEW had Kenny Omega and Jon Moxley. Chris Jericho was a bigger star than him. MJF was on the rise. Darby Allin was on the rise. They were trying to push Sammy Guevara. There was so much space for him to be a guy. They should have done more with him, but he got complete. He felt like he was not being treated well. Goes to WWE, and he's right back in the mid card where he fucking belongs, because that's where you're gonna be on either of these rosters right now.
Yeah, and at the end of the day, it's good to have confidence in your abilities, but it's another thing for it to be able to for it to personify itself on screen, right? For you to be able to be the top guy that you want to be and stuff like that. The one narrative that always grinds my gears is people always talking shit about the use of Jay White on AEW TV, and I say to people all this. Well, I'm going to say this out loud now, and I was like, how How is it that this is bad? The man is on all 3 shows every week, TV time,
titles.
and he holds gold across 2 different companies. How is this bad? How? The main point of TV wrestling is to get exposure. If he's on the show every week, I think he's doing just fine. He'll be in the main event scene eventually because he is that sort of a character, right? But for people to say, "Oh, Tony's dropped the ball on who? Not Jay White." I was like, "Not Jay White." I was like, "Sorry to tell you that he didn't drop the ball on Jay White." So
I was like, Jay White can be utilized better.
Sure.
But I wouldn't say he needs to be utilized more. I think he is being utilized a lot.
It's just, I guess, in a different way that he was utilized in New Japan.
Yes,
obviously, in New Japan, the idea that he was doing tag matches and anything like that is completely different. Like, you wouldn't expect it. But yeah, I think the only time I've ever said, "Oh, that was wrong booking for Jay with AEW," was that who was it?
Probably the MJF match and how they booked it.
No, the match.
I don't even care about the MJF match. I'd say the only time AEW messed up with Jay White's booking is when he went 11 minutes and 39 seconds with 60-year-old Billy Gunn. Billy Gunn dominated 11 fucking minutes of 11 minute and 39 second matchup. That was a booking malpractice. Huh? Yeah, and then Jay lost at the end. Like, at least you have to book it for him to fucking win.
Yeah, that's the only time where I've agreed and I've been like, wow, they massively let Jay
They dropped the ball on that one.
Yeah, that one.
I think that a lot of the narrative now on Jay is still trying to recover from that. Because that was just a month ago.
Yeah, no. Look, man. When you're recovering from something, you're not on TV. That's the way I see it. When you recover from something, you're not on TV.
No, you could still be on TV.
Nah,
WWE you could be.
It's my personal bias.
You could
I'll
be
my personal bias.
But I'm going to give you an example of someone who was recovering from something. They did not ever recover him from it, but he was on TV every other week after he had a booking malpractice. And this is the Triple H era. Austin Theories failed Money in the Bank cash. He was on TV every fucking week after that, but he was still recovering. And that's what I'm saying. Jay is still recovering right now. And they haven't put him on Dynamite since then. He's been on Collision. He's been on Rampage. Yeah, he's being featured every week, but is he being featured on the main show? No. So he's still recovering.
Yeah, fair enough. Let's get on with the cards then.
Yeah, we done quite a while.
We went down the WWE lane, the AEW lane. Big Potato says Jay White needs to be used more substantially. He's such a natural heel and a perfect villain for a big baby face like Will Ospreay. And yes, they kind of teased that during Casino Gauntlet.
I popped on that. I watched that entire match just to see that one interaction between the two former Chaos members, and I was like, I fangirled the shit out of that moment.
So did the crowd. Yeah. The crowd loved it. And I said to myself, yeah, because for whatever reason, my feeling, we didn't get it proper in New Japan for whatever reason.
We never got a feud. Got a feud. They've had great matches in Ring of Honor and New Japan, but they never had a proper feud.
Yeah, for sure. So can't wait for that to happen.
Absolutely. We got Josh in the chat who says, did you watch the Backlash pre-show where Big E mentioned New Japan and Punk was shocked and didn't really know how to react? The Billy and Jay matchup was an abomination. We also got ALW who says, I feel like they have presented Jay as a very good mid-card talent, but he is a main event talent and we know it because we know him.
That's the thing. We've watched Jay for years being like, as soon as he came back from his excursion, really, he was going straight into these big matches. So for New Japan fans, it's going to be shocking. But for example, any AEW fans who don't know anything about Jay, it might seem like the perfect place for him.
And this has kind of like been the theme of his whole AEW run. He comes in and he's in a feud with Ricky Starks. People immediately were like, "Oh man, this is beneath Jay White. He should be a main event star." And then he wins that feud with Ricky Starks, and he immediately starts teasing stuff with like CM Punk, and Bullet Club Gold becomes like one of the main things on AEW Collision. And then eventually he gets into the feud with MJF. It's like, oh yeah, this is where we wanted him. Yeah, AEW is doing great with Jay White. Then the match happens with MJF. Then he doesn't win the Continental Classic. Then he goes into this whole rivalry with the Acclaim. We're back on, oh, they're fucking up with Jay White. So it's like, it's been an up and down whole run for him as far as perception. Not really what's been going on TV, but the perception of the fans has been up and down the entire year-long run, basically.
I think that's what it's inevitable with someone like Jay, who obviously has come in with such a big, like, it'll happen with Okada, it'll happen with Ospreay. If they're anywhere,
it's happening with Ospreay right now. There's people that are upset that Ospreay's going for the international championship because they lowered that down. Like, I think that Will came up with this idea when Orange Cassidy had the title last year, when the international title was getting built up to the main event of All Out. But yeah, the international title has been defined down since then, with the whole Moxley, Ray Phoenix getting injured, then Arn's second run where it was very much the European title, and then Roderick Strong winning, where the Undisputed Kingdom is pretty much a DOA act already, and now he's going against Will Ospreay. After Will Ospreay just had a main event 6-star classic with Bryan Danielson, I can understand why some fans are like, this is a step down for Will.
It sucks that the whole Undisputed Kingdom is DOA at the moment, man. Like, I thought those guys are super entertaining. I get a lot of watching them on TV, but that's not wrong. That's the perception of it. It's not wrong. I think once Adam Cole comes back, things will change on a regular basis, being able to wrestle. But yeah, Dontaku Night 1, SP3. You want to run through these tag matches?
I know you love talking about these tag matches. So let's talk about first. You had the Frontier Zone on the pre-show. Bolton Olid and Shuma Kaito defeated Toge Makabe and Kazuya Murashima. In the end, it was Oleg who dropped Murashima with to win the matchup for his team. I've been liking this whole Bolton Oleg graduation push. How about you, Sonal, the new never openweight 6-man tag team champion, getting the win here?
It's been great. He had, I can't remember if it was yesterday's match. Oh no, Saturday's match on Fridays, where like after his match he came out calling out Taichi like, "You old geezer, like I'm not a young lion anymore." I like that because I always mention this when we spoke about Bolton Oleg. He has everything, but it was just he just seemed a bit bland. So I like that we're now getting to see bits of this fire that is outside the realms of just young lion fire. Like him calling people old. Like, he might need to change his ring gear. I feel like that tends to have a big deal. It's like one of the reasons why I think Narita's return from excursion kind of just didn't work, because he still had the same ring gear basically, and you couldn't separate it. So Oleg, now he's got a title, needs to now find a way to separate himself from that young lion persona and to be like, no, I am a member of this main roster now.
Any thoughts on the push for Bolton Oleg, J News?
Yeah, I just need to see more. That's all. I just need to see more.
There we go. Next up, we had on the main card, just 5 guys, Takumi Shinoku and Doki versus Sho and Yujiro Takahashi of the House of Torture. This was a House of Torture tag team matchup, so, I didn't pay attention until we started seeing some cheating. Takumi Shinoku distracted the referee long enough for Taka to be hit with the Pimp Cane. Pimp Juice followed by Yujiro to pick up the victory for the House of Torture. We did get a little bit of interaction between Doki and Sho to preview the Best of the Super Juniors tournament. Sonal, I know you're high on Doki. What do you think about his prospects for this upcoming tournament?
I'm excited because obviously he lost the title match in one of what we can call a House of Torture match, which shouldn't have been Doki's first ever title attempt. So I'll probably just wipe that from my mind somewhere. But I think Doki is really going to show. The New Japan have proven that they are ready to have him as one of the big top guys in the junior division. So it's going to be exciting to see after, because this flip has only really happened after the last Best of Super Junior. So it'll be interesting to see how that impacts his results and like the storylines is going to go with him going forward.
Indeed. Next, we had another tag team matchup here, as we had just 5 guys, Taichi and Yuya Uemura going up against United Empire's Great Okan and Callum Newman. Our first time really seeing Uemura after winning his first title in New Japan Pro Wrestling, the KOPW Championship. A lot of interaction between him and the former champion Okan early on in this matchup. Newman rushed Uemura, gaining a solid lead for the team, but in the closing sequence, Newman tried for multiple finishing attempts. In the final one, Uemura stuffed the Oscutter and hit a sudden deadbolt suplex to pick up the victory for his team. What do you think about Uemura being one of the first of these young guys getting singles championship gold in New Japan Pro Wrestling, beating Okan earlier in the week during the Dontaku tour? J News.
I think that sometimes the edict that the title makes the man is bad foresight. Not saying that Uemura is going to be a bad champion because he just got the belt, but I think folks might feel that giving a championship to a guy might give him a new polish from a perception standpoint. They tried that with the haircut, then they put a title on him. Now he's going to be, we'll talk about this later. Now he's going to be challenging Shingo for the Never Openweight Championship. He still needs to deliver in that ring. That's what New Japan is about. So, we'll see. Good for him for winning his first championship, even though it's a championship that's a complete joke. And we'll see if he can hang with the real best bout machine come Resurgence.
Gorillas of Destiny were next up. El Fantasmo, Hikuleo, and Jado going up against TMDK, Kosei Fujita, and the NJPW Strong World Openweight Tag Team Champions Shane Hayes and Mikey Nichols. This was a pretty more upbeat tag team matchup here. In the end, though, it was ELP who rolled up Hayes basically with a handful of tights to pick up the victory here. GLT taking nefarious ways to pick up a victory and earn themselves an opportunity at a rematch for the Openweight Tag Team titles coming up at Resurgence this coming Saturday. Sonal, what do you think about El Fantasmo cheating to get the win here?
I kind of like it. It's because I always thought it was a bit weird. Like, obviously, he was Bullet Club, and then suddenly went to GOD, and I like that we're now getting to a point where he's like, okay, I'm a babyface, everyone loves me, but I know that sometimes you've got to play dirty. And again, I don't know what's going on with Hikuleo or even ELP's contract status. But I feel like him, Despy, Shota, and Hikuleo have got a really nice little faction thing going on. And we know Despy is not afraid to not cheat, but like he will hit back at heels and he'll do his own heelish antics. I think that's something that Shota needs. So you know what? I don't mind it because again, ELP is so phenomenal. This is like, it's like a very different to, House of Torch is always cheating. This is just a handful of tights. Everyone does it. You know what I mean? And I quite like it. That it shows the urgency that it's like, no, I need to get this win. I don't care how.
He just stole some gum from that store. He didn't rob a bank.
Exactly. Exactly. Like he's not going to get into trouble for it. Like we can all look past it. It's fine.
We can all turn our heads to that. It'd be fine.
The monitor could go out, similarly when everything happens with Yano, the monitor could have gone out for a second and next thing they got the win.
Hey, I don't know how that happened. Next up, you had the Bullet Club adjacent I was talking about earlier, as you had Chase Owens, Kenta, and Taiji Ishimori teaming up to verse Bishamon, the IWGP Heavyweight Tag Team Champions, Hiroki Goto and Yoshihashi teaming up with Tiger Mask here. This was your standard fare, not much to write home about here, but Owens picking up the win with a C trigger, followed by the package power driver on Tiger Mask as they picked up a win. I see you're not too pleased that you with this one, J News, with Chase Owens. I mean, this was at this point that I put that I hope that Chase Owens and Kenta
I
don't
saw
win
that.
tomorrow. And Chase
He
Owens
replied.
commented and replied under my post and said, "Spoiler alert: 2-time IWGP Heavyweight Tag Team Champion."
It's your fault, SP3. It's your fault.
He wasn't lying.
So at the end of the day, as Sonal said at the beginning of this show, Gato watches True Heel Heat, and they follow all of the different members of True Heel Heat on the Twitter space. All I have to say is, like I've always said, I'm all about the good brothers making a paycheck, man. That's really what it's about for me. But if I wanted half-ass wrestling, I'd ask for half-ass wrestling. You know what I'm saying? That's legit spit. I ain't got nothing good to say about Lil K and the master of the Sea Trigger. I ain't got much good to say.
With Kenta, I still quite like his post-match comments. I still think he's quite funny in the backstage comments.
I mean, he's hilarious. I think
I'll
that,
give him that.
but at the end of the day, this ain't it, man. This ain't it.
This ain't it. I agree. Next up, Los Ingonables de Japón. Bushi, Hiromu Takahashi, Shingo Takagi, and Tetsuya Naito going up against the Bullet Club War Dogs, Clark Connors, Drilla Maloney, Gabe Kidd, and Gato. This was a straight-up brawl, as you would expect from the War Dogs. We get a showdown between Maloney and Naito, kind of highlighting commentary talking about how Maloney picked up the victory over Naito in Kurgan Hall, thanks to help from Jake Lee. But here, it was Tetsuya Naito and Los Ingonables de Japón who picked up the victory after Bushi forced Gato to submit to his figure 4 variation. After the matchup, though, it was Kidd who challenged Shingo to a fight on the outside in the crowd, and Shingo denied the impromptu fight and just said, "See you tomorrow." Sonal, what have you thought so far about the LIJ War Dogs rivalry in the build-up to Dontaku?
I quite like it. Honestly, it's one of the feuds that I have liked. It's been very funny because obviously, like you said, you had that big storyline with Driller pinning Naito. It's something simple as like seeing the LIJ members barking to just basically take the mick out of War Dogs.
I didn't even, when I watched that the other day, I said to myself, what is going on? What is happening?
When they were barking at each other, that shit was hilarious.
I was like, what is happening here?
But I kind of like that. I like that the link of interaction. So even now we've obviously got Hiromu and Bushi, and then Clark and Driller going ahead of Super Junior. And then this one we had Shingo and Gabe and Naito, who's obviously still trying to find some sort of path after his loss. Like, as long as they don't overplay it like they did with LIJ versus Just 5 Guys, I think it'll be nice because, you know, we can have different things. I know that some people were really down about Driller and Clark Connors retaining the titles, but I genuinely think I'm really liking their reign. Like, someone even said they were like, oh, they're not present champions. They are very present champions.
Yeah, they're there.
They've had a lot of defense. They don't have to defend it every week, but they are at the shows. They are wrestling. They're going to be in the best of Super Juniors. So I want to give Driller and Clark like a big kudos because they are really doing it. Like, especially with those two, basically, because we know they're on the bigger side. And with Driller, I do have a Shingo Takagi moment where I'm like, are we sure he is a junior? Because Callum Newman was like, yeah, I'm like 105 or something. I was like, if you're 105, Driller definitely can't be. But I like that they're really putting emphasis on this open weight thing. And they were like, and it's true, they were like, they are the strongest men in the junior division. And they are benefiting much more by being in that division than being in the heavyweights.
Yeah, I said this morning in reference to Callum Newman. I could say the same thing or a similar thing about Drilla Maloney. I mean, I was used to seeing Drilla for years as a heavyweight at the end of the day, and for him to cut down the way that he did a couple of years ago was like, what the fuck? But then, you know, he's put a little bit more mass on, even though he's still cutting under the 205 pounds, that is, folks. So
yeah, when I was referring to 100, it was kilograms, because that's how Callum Newman was referring to it in his post-match comments.
You know, I think them as champions works at this point because the IWGP Junior Heavyweight division doesn't coincide with the heavyweight division. I think they have more competition in the junior heavyweight division. From a tag team standpoint, it's just more or less creating those feuds and having them be a little bit more in the forefront than it is, kind of like card filler and stuff like that or whatever. So that's more or less what I would want to say about that. My dog's for real, man. At the end of the day, Clark Connors, Jill Maloney, those dudes, they're gonna keep doing the damn thing. I'll talk about some other stuff later.
I also like their white belts. The white belts are really nice.
Oh
Yeah. I like that. Always like a white stripe. We got House of Torture next up. Evil, Ren Narita, and Yoshinobu Kanemaru going up against El Desperado, Jon Moxley, and Shota Umino. Love the entrance for Moxley and Shooter coming out with the little garage door kind of going up with their backs to it. That was pretty cool. They came out together. This matchup, what's your usual House of Torture multi-man matchup? Dick Togo trying to get involved in this one, choking Desperado with a wire. Moxley had to pull him off. This led to a brawl on the floor. Kanemaru spits a mouthful of whiskey into Desperado's eyes, bumps him into the exposed turnbuckle, and rolls him up for the 1-2-3. Post-match, House of Torture beat down Moxley, forcing Umino to make a save with the steel chair. I mean, not much to say here. It's a House of Torture tag team matchup. So.
The only thing I will say is that but having Kanemaru beat Desperado and they're in the same block as the Best of Super Juniors, that's the only thing I'll accept. That's the only thing I'll accept, that it's going to lead to something there, because obviously Kanemaru helped Despy lose the belt. I want something proper to, finish the storyline with them.
Finally, yes. That's
the only good thing that really came out.
I'm down for that. Yeah, let them finally blow off the beef. That's now 3 years in the making.
Yeah.
When they were a tag team, yes. New Japan World Television Championship. Finally, some freaking wrestling on this goddamn show for us to pay attention to. As it's Zack Sabre Jr. defending against Jeff Cobb. In the opening exchange, you get Zack wrestling Cobb to the mat. Cobb responds post rope break by taking ZSJ to the mat himself. Once Cobb proved capable, he began throwing ZSJ around, establishing a significant lead as ZSJ started selling the ribs. I love the commentary by Chris Galton, kind of talking about the previous opening up lead for ZSJ as he rallied, but the damage from Cobb's offense was taking a toll. ZSJ managed to land a few strikes, but unfortunately, Cobb came back, responded with a huge suplex of his own. Cobb floored ZSJ before landing a moonsault for a near fall. When Cobb tried to follow up, a desperate Zack landed a Zack driver, but he was slow for the cover and only got a near fall. Once Cobb kicked out, he hoisted ZSJ to the top rope, but ZSJ transitioned to a sleeper from the corner. ZSJ managed a mean-looking powerbomb for a near fall. He tries for a kick as we go to the 5-minute mark. We hit the 3-minute mark, and Zack is desperately trying to go for covers. Cobb hits a huge F5000. He goes for the Tour of the Islands, but ZSJ is able to reverse. He secures a submission, but Cobb is able to power through. He transitions out of a triangle choke into the Tour of the Islands. 1, 2, 3, and Jeff Cobb, for the first time in 5 years, the first time this decade, is a singles champion in New Japan Pro Wrestling as the I believe this is the 5th NJPW World Television Champion. Jeff Cobb finally defeats Zack Sabre Jr. Great matchup here. These two guys have great chemistry. It's always this excellent styles clash of the power of Jeff versus the submission expertise of Zack. But this was great with the selling of ZSJ with the rib injury, with Cobb trying to do more mat work and trying to prove himself as a technical expert himself. This was great in a lot of ways. I give it 4.25 stars. J News, what did you think about this one?
To coin a phrase, finally. At the end of the day, 5 years too long for Jeff Cobb, the one and only Jeff Cobb, to be a champion in New Japan Pro Wrestling. I was talking about earlier in the day, I was talking about my exposure to Jeff Cobb over the years and how I learned about him as a professional wrestler behind the mask. Going back to Lucha Underground days, Matanza Cueto, the monster himself. Dude's always been incredible in the ring. To SP3's point, with the power, the agility, the freaking the high impact stuff. Just to mention it as well, not yesterday, on the 4th, he was on commentary with Chris Charlton. He was hilarious. He's the dude has quite the personality, but him as TV champ now, I think leads to this is going to be the meets run for the TV championship on New Japan Pro Wrestling. His first matchup against the one and only Murder Hawk Monster, Lance Archer, coming at Resurgence. So I think this is going to be the big time meets run for the New Japan World TV Championship, and I'm here for it. So we'll see who else gets a shot. I'm sure Ishii will get a shot. Maybe Shingo. You know what I'm saying? Any other outside guys, because he basically has an open challenge at this point going. Does Jeff Cobb? So we'll see how that goes. But terrific match between him and ZSJ. ZSJ now positioned to do some different things at New Japan Pro Wrestling. Hopefully, they take heed and make the right choices with Zack Sabre Jr. and
putting a lot of faith in Gato, J News.
I mean,
this was basically this whole TV title win for Zack at Windy City Riot was just for him to put over the guy that probably should have ended his first run in Jeff Cobb.
Yeah.
I also think it was a panic of, oh shit, nobody actually gives a shit about Matt Riddle. They just despise him. I don't care. We'll have Zack have the most defenses and the least defenses just so we can get that goddamn title off Matt Riddle. And I'll take that.
Yeah, it is what it is at this point. That's just going to be a blip in the radar for New Japan. They tried something. It didn't work. So they course corrected at the end of the day. And now we're here with Jeff Cobb as our New Japan World TV champ. Murder Hawk Monster first. Like I said, I want to see matches versus Ishii and Shingo. And
I think he will have it against Ishii because I think something happened at All Together because they had a
tag team
match against Ishii, and I think something happened there because people online were saying something about Ishii challenging. So yeah,
maybe some of those Haas guys from Noah. You know what I'm saying? So
get to Mia, I would be down with that.
There you go. You know what I'm saying? Give me some of that. Give me some of that. You know what I'm saying? Give me the meets run for the TV championship. That's all I need.
The big beefy men fighting for the title.
Sonal, any thoughts?
I really liked it. I've always said this, like, from being very confused to start with about the television title. I think it's an amazing concept. And I think this is, again, something that Jeff Cobb can make it his own. And he's, again, like Jane said, it's been way too long. Like, how are you going to say it took 5 years for him to get another piece of gold? And I like that he's basically, I don't know if it's leading up, we've had people online have this conversation leading up to Forbidden Door, like all of the New Japan talent basically shitting on like Moxley being champion and, AEW. Again, I think it might be more, rather than discontent, maybe building up to Forbidden Door. But I like that he was calling him out backstage. He's good on commentary. Jeff Cobb is just overall an amazing wrestler. And I'm glad that he's got a title that he can now put a legacy on. Because really, the only other person who has made a significant mark on it was Zack. So yeah, it'll be nice. It'll be nice.
I agree with you there. Next up, we had our semi-main event. David Finlay, the leader of Bullet Club War Dogs, going up against Los Ingobernables de Japon's Yota Tsuji. Early on, Finlay established the lead by driving Tsuji into the barricade on the floor. Back in the ring, he started to pick him apart with some offense, submissions, and wearing him down, stretching him out. Tsuji eventually fired back with a big splash, a Hurricane Rana, sending Finlay to the floor. He hit a massive tope that sent Finlay over the guard rail. Back in the ring, Tsuji capitalized with a body scissors to cement a lead. We get a dominator by Finlay, place him in the driver's seat for a little bit here before Tsuji started firing back with a power bomb. We get Tsuji tries for the top rope curb stomp, but Finlay's able to reverse that into a cutter, followed by a buckle bomb and the oblivion for a false finish. We get an inside cradle from Tsuji. Tsuji fires back, hits a curb stomp, but collapsed right after that, allowing Finlay to hold on in this one. Finlay follows up with a collection of uppercuts, a sudden knee from Tsuji, open the door for a rally. He hits a power bomb, another curb stomp, and then hits the top rope curb stomp. He tries to go for the Gene Blaster, but Gato distracts him momentarily. This leads to Finlay hitting a spear of his own, but Tsuji's able to kick out. We finally get the Gene Blast, a quick spear by Tsuji. He goes for the Gene Blast, but Finlay cuts him off with a shillelagh shot as Gato is distracting the referee. He then follows up with the overkill to pick up the victory in this one. I thought it was a very good matchup. I gave it 3 3/4 stars. Finlay picking up a victory that I knew was going to lead to him getting a shot at championship gold. Sonal, what did you think?
Yeah, it was good. There was a story to it. Everything made sense. Finlay had an extra chip on his shoulder following the New Japan Cup. And I think, weird as it says, because normally Team Tsuji all the way, it was the right decision. Finlay has needed something big. And yes, okay, it's only a win over Tsuji, but it's win over Tsuji, the guy who wants to lead the company, the guy who is presenting himself as the best of the returning young lions. So, in a sense, short term, maybe you're like, oh, well, it's only a win over Tsuji. But I think for Finlay's character and everything that happened, obviously, losing the Global Championship, not being in the New Japan Cup because of injury, this was what he needed. And again, yeah, we'll speak, like SP3 said, it was the perfect lead on to the main event.
Yeah. Jay News?
Shouts to Big Such. Always a shout out to Big Such because, you know, he's out there doing the Lord's work in the New Japan ring. It's Big Such. You think I'm gonna? This is just as good as Steve Filthy, brother. I'm riding this wave till I can't ride no more. I'm never gonna give David Finlay any goddamn credit at the end of the day. Anyway,
this man's been tearing it up, having good matches, and this man will refuse to give him credit.
Refusal is the top of the key for me. Big Such. Nice.
I was really against Finlay before, like, you know, because I've always been a Finlay fan, but I was like, he's cosplaying. I feel like he's now starting to break out into like David Finlay, and I'm starting to see more of like a shining light of like, this was what I wanted the heel turn to be.
Yeah, this matchup kind of showed me the maturation of both guys, that both guys are improving, and he was a very good heel in this matchup. He cut him off at the right time. He was getting as much heat as possible, wearing him down.
Not heel of torture heat, not like Matt Real heat, not like go away heat, literal heel heat.
Yeah.
True heel heat.
Sure. Yeah.
Man,
give Finlay some love. Give Finlay some
love. The refusal to be non-biased. Jesus. We got Berkeley Bleak in the chat who says, "Can I get Cobb versus Samoa Joe?
The king of TV for the TV championship? Give me that. Yeah, I'm with it.
Sign me up.
Forbidden door.
Sign me up. IWGP Global Heavyweight Championship was the main event of night 1 of Wrestling Dontaku. You had the wanted man, Nick Nemeth, defending against the ace, Hiroshi Tanahashi. This was Nick Nemeth's first defense of the Global Heavyweight Championship. This match kicked off with a prolonged filling out process. Nemeth eventually gained the upper hand by working on Tanahashi's leg, hit a big satellite DDT for a near fall. Tanahashi caught Nemeth with a few strikes, a senton to take the lead, but that was short-lived as we got a double crossbody with both men down. Nemeth tries for the danger zone a little later on, and Tanahashi answers back with a twist and shout, hits a sling blade for a 2 count. We get Tanahashi with his second high fly flow attempt of the matchup, and Nemeth's able to reverse that with the knees up and a roll up for a near fall. This let Nemeth free to hit the danger zone not once but twice to pick up the victory here and retain the IWGP Global Heavyweight Championship. Post-match, Nemeth shows respect to his idol Hiroshi Tanahashi, but that is not good enough for the leader of the War Dogs, David Finlay, who comes out and attacks the champion as well as Tanahashi. Nemeth able to fight back. This forces a breakup by officials, but then Nemeth gets on the mic and makes an impromptu challenge for tomorrow, for the next night of Wrestling Dontaku, to face Finlay in a rematch for the IWGP Global Heavyweight Championship, and that is made official. As far as the matchup with Nemeth and Tanahashi, it was solid, but it fell a little short of what I expect from a New Japan Pro Wrestling main event, regardless of, Tanahashi not being in his prime and being far away from it.
He looked better than he has in a while. Like,
he looked good here. That's why I said it was a solid matchup. I don't know. It's something about Nemeth. It's not meshing well in New Japan to me.
I'm the opposite. But then again, people seem to think I'm just massively biased towards Nick Nemeth, which I might be. I've been enjoying it. Maybe it's because all of his matches have been like, we've had one tag match, and it's been title match after title match, and then the
No, it hasn't been title. This is the first title match.
Is it?
Yeah.
Is it? Oh, yes. Maybe he needs to be in New Japan more. Like not as like a thing like, oh, you know what I mean, like the thing with Moxley. I just mean like he's really only had a few matches in New Japan. It was always going to be a bit of a hard thing. The one thing is Nemeth is still massively over. Like he is still surprisingly over in Japan. Like if you compare his appearances to like someone like Matt Riddle. So in that sense, I feel like he would need maybe a bit longer. I don't know. Is this the end of his time in New Japan? I know there's been rumors because of like his stuff with AAA.
I don't know. That is very interesting. He is the new AAA mega champion. So yeah,
Right.
maybe that's why they took the IWGP championship. Yeah, I didn't even hear about that.
I was like, okay, that kind of
that makes perfect sense actually to me now. Like now that actually makes a lot of sense. Because I thought it was weird. I thought it was weird that Nemeth didn't win the TNA World Championship at Rebellion, but that makes more sense as far as like why he lost the title this weekend.
You know how like deep the wrestling politics is, especially when it comes to like the whole CMLL AAA. So like after that, I was like, okay, like it makes sense, and then linking it in with whole Finlay, it seemed right, and it does make me wonder whether we'll, because I know a lot of people after that was like, oh, Nemeth in the G1. I don't know. After seeing that comment about AAA, I am wondering.
Maybe
again, this is all speculation. I'm not saying that's the reason he lost.
Maybe it's even like he can't be a champion. He can still work for New Japan, but he just can't be a champion. Can't be a champion for both promotions. So, wow, I didn't even know that. So you taught me something here. But you like the matchup with Nemeth and Tanahashi?
I did. I liked how Nemeth is, who's used to his past matches, he'd been a good babyface, knowing that nobody can out babyface Tanahashi, and so obviously the injury, and he was focusing on the leg.
He played a good heel here. Yeah.
So I personally liked it, but again, there might be the bias towards Nick Nemeth that like I've got a soft spot for him since I got into it.
J News, any thoughts on the night one main event?
Nemeth and Tanahashi?
Yeah.
Like you said, man, I thought it was solid at the end of the day. I felt like for all intents and purposes, we'll talk about the match on night 2, but I think Nick Nemeth is done with his New Japan run.
You think he's done? We were just discussing that because Sonal brought up a good talking point, is that the reason why he lost is that he just won the AAA Mega Championship.
This
Right.
is something that I read
So-
online. Someone
So
said
that's what I was just saying, that I think that he lost the championship because he can't be a champion for both of those promotions due to the CMLL partnership, but he can still work for New Japan.
I think he's done just because he thanked New Japan via social media earlier today. So that it was odd for me to just see him say thank you New Japan, and I was like, that's an odd post. You came off your best match, your best New Japan match.
But he's just
I thought
again.
the Ishii match was better.
Honestly, I thought that his match with David Finlay was really, really good. It was better than the first one, so I was like, okay, this works.
Which tweet was that, J News? Because he did tweet like an hour ago.
I read it in the feed earlier today, where he just
because an hour ago he went, the Ace President and the Wanted Man went on a can't wait to do it again.
No,
that came out an hour ago.
Probably before that and whatnot.
Yeah. So that was yesterday. That one, yeah. This one came out an hour ago, and he said can't wait to do it again. So
okay, right. So then that's fine.
What did his tweet from yesterday say?
Just says thank you.
Yeah, just thank you with a clip
from
his backstage comments.
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
Mm-hmm. That just made me think. Okay, I mean, he might be done with the New Japan run for now, but he'll be back later. I don't know.
Yeah, he'll probably be back later. Maybe he has to focus more on doing AAA stuff since he's the champion now. But we got then night 2 show, which kicked off with 2 matches on the kickoff. We'll go through those very quickly here. Frontier Zone, you had Toga Makabe teaming up with, I believe that is Murashima once again, as they verse Hakurako Sakurajima and Jet Wee. I knew that one. That was all right. Toga Makabe and his team got the victory in that one. And then we had TMDK, the NJPW Strong Openweight Tag Team Champions, Mikey Nichols and Shane Hayes. They picked up a victory over Tiger Mask and Kaito as TMDK hit the power bottom. The power bottom. Or the rock bomb, as Chris Carlton called it. Chris Carlton called it the rock bottom. No, he called it the rock bottom or the rock bomb. And then Shane Hayes and Mikey Nichols came over, and Shane Hayes said it's called the power bottom. And Mikey Nichols says, say it again. He says power bottom. He was like, you don't hear what's wrong with that.
I'm going to say this every time we speak about it. I love Shane Hayes. He is such a breath of fresh air. He is so unfiltered, so hilarious, and the combination of him and Mikey Nichols, it's like I always compare this to like trying to be supportive mother and the overactive child, and like Mikey, just think about what you're saying right here. Just think about it.
I loved it when he repeated himself. He didn't even know. He was like, power bottom, what? Great stuff. But the main card opened up with the United Empire's Francisco Akira and Great Okan versus Doki, and the KOPW 2024 Provisional Champion Yuya Uemura of Just 5 Guys, which was a lot of exchanges between Doki and Akira, kind of highlighting their upcoming matchup in the Best of the Super Juniors tournament. You also had Uemura going at it with Okan, but in the end, we saw another athletic exchange between Akira and Doki, like what started off the matchup, with Akira getting the better of it, getting a flash pin on Doki to pick up the victory here. Hey, I'm on the Francisco Akira train. I've already said it before. He's my pick to win the Best of the Super Junior. So I was happy. I was happy to see this victory here. Sonal, what did you think about the exchanges between Akira and Doki and the match?
Akira and Doki are 2 of my favorite wrestlers in New Japan. My pick is Fujita, because that's like, I'm trying to use not logic here, but if I was going with my heart, it would have been either Doki or Akira to win, because I just think they are so good. They have been improving. Akira, especially after that cage match, we've seen like a switch in him, like a new level. And Doki again, like you've seen him, since his win against Hiromu, a new switch. And I think that this year is the time for guys like him to really shine. Well, both of them to shine.
100% agree with you there. We got Dustin in the chat who says Akira or Fujita are winning the Best of Super Juniors to
The
him.
babies. One of the babies is gonna win.
Then you had TMDK, speaking of which, Kosei Fujita teaming up with the former NJPW World Television Champion, Zack Sabre Jr., to versus United Empire's Callum Newman and Jeff Cobb. This was the best of any of the tag team matches, I believe, on either night of the show. This was a really solid matchup. Love the rib work that started on night one with the Cobb ZSJ matchup, continued here with Callum Newman trying to take advantage of the injured ribs of ZSJ. But in the end, ZSJ just pulls out the Zack driver on Newman to pick up the victory for TMDK. Really enjoyed this one. I gave it 3.25 stars. J News, what did you think?
It's becoming more and more evident to me that Callum Newman is going to be a star in this business. Every time I see that kid in the ring, he is just growing into his own. Like now he's not even mirroring or doing similar moves as well. He's got his own move set now. And that Prince of Pace moniker is not a gimmick. Sweet Lord, how does he move that fast, that big? That's crazy.
It's because he's tall as well. Like most tall people, I wouldn't relate, but like you can see that sometimes they're quite spindly in the ring, but he has so much control over all of his limbs.
He has excellent body control, which is to Sonal's point. And from a fitness standpoint, for taller people, is not necessarily very common.
Not easy.
So props to him. He's in a very weird place, New Japan wise. He doesn't have a place to fit. He's not a junior. At the end of the day, they keep hammering that home on commentary. He's not a junior. He's not a junior. He's not a junior. And I was like, well, he's not really necessarily in the never open weight picture either. So it's like, what is he going to be doing?
Jamie, do you think he would? Because I always thought he would be similar to like Driller. He would really benefit and shine in the junior division. Where do you think he would fit better? Because I personally still think he should go into the junior division just because I think he can shine there more. But I don't know if that's just me and my desire to see new faces stay in the junior division and want to be there.
I shared that desire with you, but because of his build and his body type, that's not happening. Right? New Japan's very stringent on that or whatever. They really don't sway kayfabe on the weight thing. So at the end of the day, like I said, I think the never open weight division is probably best for him, or the secondary belts at this point, TV, global, whatever. You know, I'm not saying put the rocket pack on the kid, but give him the opportunity to put on these matches that I for whatever reason, I feel like he can put on. There's just this gut feeling I have that this kid's going to be money. And you just need to give him the opportunity to do what he can do at the end of the day. Character-wise, I don't know where he's going to end up in the next 2 to 3 years, but like whatever he chooses, I'm sure it'll just work to his benefit. He's just got to find it. But in ring though, look, man, I'm just waiting. I'm waiting to see as to what he can do. Give me a match versus him and Suge. Give me a match versus him and Shooter. Whatever, man. It's just like this kid can put it on. And yeah, thankfully, I think I'm a part of his growth process as well. There was a show he was doing a couple of years ago, which was a benefit show, like a charity show, whatever that Will and a bunch of UK wrestlers set up or whatever. And Will ended up giving him money to do like wrestling training, and I donated part of that money to get his wrestling training.
J News.
There you go.
So I am a part of the young man's growth some way, somehow, 6 degrees of separation. So I want to see bigger and better things for him. But he stood out in this match to me. To SP3's point, ZSJ still working the intercostal muscle injury during the match was definitely good psychology, and obviously, playing up the injury and all that. Jeff Cobb just, strutting around with the belt nowadays and still being Jeff Cobb. So we're gonna, Cam's gonna be off of TV for a while, obviously, because the best of Super Juniors is gonna come up. And Jeff's probably gonna be doing indie dates here in the States for the time being.
I think he said that because he had something pull out, so he booked another one. So I think
so. For the heavyweight guys, they're gonna stay busy for the most part. So we'll see how it goes. But yeah, I just wanted to say that about Callum Newman.
Next up, we had another multi-man matchup. You had the Gorillas of Destiny, El Phantasmo and Hikuleo teaming up with El Desperado and Shono Amino to verse House of Tortures, Evil, Sho, Yoshinobu Kanemaru, and Yujiro Takahashi. This had to be the worst of all of the House of Torture matches. It was just not much to discuss here. In the end, though, it was Shoto Amino who hit the Death Rider on Yujiro, and the post match was fun as all three baby faces tried to get El Desperado to join them in doing the heart sign and giving a high five to Hikuleo. That was nice, but
to be fair,
the match was trash.
This is why I'm saying, like, the four of them together is great. It almost reminds me of, with Wato and Despy. Like, Despy still wants to present himself as a real tough guy. Like, I'm not a heel, but you know what? I don't do any of this. But you can still, like, his face when he had to do the heart and the entrance, he was like... And it's small things like that. Like, if Hikuleo decides to stay, I'd love him to. The four of them could be a great stable. And it gives Shota a home that's not Hontai.
The new GLD. There you go. Next up, tag team action. Hiroshi Tanahashi teaming up. Oh, wrong one. Hiroshi Tanahashi teaming up with Boltin Oleg to verse just five guys, Taichi and Taka Michinoku. This one was really about Boltin Oleg and Taichi going at it. Very physical exchanges between those two. Once Oleg hit the ring, Tanahashi was able to hit Taka with the sling blade, followed by high fly flow to pick up the victory here. And in the post match, we got Taichi and Boltin Oleg going at it, going face to face, going to blows on the outside of the ring. So it looks like we're teasing a singles match between those two. This was fine. I like this one. What did you think, J News?
Sonal, I want you to explain something to me. The whereabouts of this smolder on camera that we saw from Taichi on the other day, I want to understand what birthed this.
I'm just picturing it. Maybe he watched Tangled. I don't know. Maybe Tangled's his favorite film, and he watched it, and he was like, "Flynn Rider, I can do that."
Okay.
I love Taichi so much. I just think
the man just stared into the camera, and it was like he was trying to melt your heart into fear. I don't know what it was necessarily, but it was just a very smoldering look into the camera. I think at one point this might have been just me, but I thought that the camera fogged up while he was looking into it.
He was so smoldering. He was so intense that the camera just couldn't take it.
So I saw that and I said to myself, okay, this is a new part of the gimmick. This works.
I think I like it though, because it was also obviously again in a match against Tanahashi. Right. And Tanahashi just like takes his his jacket off really slowly, and he doesn't have a smolder, but you know what I mean? Like he is, I guess, despite his age, like he's a visual. Yeah. The women screamed for him, and Taichi was like, you know what? I want a bit of that. Everyone at home, you are gonna see that I can do that. Because as much as we love Taichi, we know that obviously in wrestling you don't always do that. But if you rank the visuals, Taichi won't be near the top. But he has the confidence. He has the confidence to believe it is, and I believe in him too.
Yeah. It was new. It was new for me. It was funny to me. It was interesting to me. I think because Sonata is now gone, someone has to take over the favorite lady wrestler.
The face. That's funny because we don't actually know what's wrong with Sonata. Someone said that he injured at the end of one of the matches before he was taken off. Mm-hmm. And there was a moment where the medics were coming and Uemura was seeming really concerned. Was it his shoulder or something? So I feel like it's something that maybe like the niggling injury that he had last year has come back and it's just become too much. Because it was really sudden. Like a very sudden announcement. And then obviously it just got extended and extended and extended.
Yeah.
Next up, we had another multi-man matchup. Los Ingobernables de Japón, Bushi, Tetsuya Naito, Hiromu Takahashi, and Yota Tsuji versus the Bullet Club. Bullet Club, I guess this is not the War Dogs officially. It's Clark Connors, Taiji Ishimori, Drilla Maloney, and Gato. This, though, God bless you. This, whether it was the lack of Gabe Kidd in this matchup or the lack of Shingo, this just didn't feel as lively as the match on the previous night. Just felt very lifeless. In the end, though, Naito got a measure of revenge as he hit Destino on Maloney to pick up the victory for LIJ. Sonal, any thoughts on this one?
Yeah, it wasn't as good as the day before. I don't know what. I think, I hate to say it, Gabe Kidd has this aura to him that just electrifies matches and just adds it. And I think that's not that it was bad because, again, Ishimori, amazing wrestler. I almost think because of Ishimori being in this de facto, we don't know where he is at the moment. He's not yet got that chemistry with the other War Dogs, which maybe that's an impact. And then Gato was there without Finlay, and Gato on the best of days just doesn't really add anything to the match except to get pinned. So I feel like that's probably the big difference between the night before. You've got 4 great LIJ guys who all work together, but then you've got 4 on the other side. Where my 4 juniors, all juniors, and 3 juniors in Gato. That there's not that.
Gato's a junior. He hasn't put on any weight.
Him, Jado, and Dick Togo are like their little section in the corner. They have their own little part. But you know what I mean? Like, you're not having the same impact because obviously the cohesion's not there yet. And I think until they sort out the Bullet Club mess and put Ishimori somewhere certain, you're not going to be able to build on this chemistry within the faction or whatever faction, the chaos that is Bullet Club.
Very, very true. Next up, we had our first big title match on night 2. The IWGP Tag Team Championships up for grabs. Bullet Club's Chase Owens and Kenta defending against, challenging Bishamon, Hiroki Goto, and Yoshihashi. This was trash. This might have been.
Can I be honest before you say anything? I didn't watch it. There was a K-pop concert at the same time, so I kind of sacrificed this match.
Well, congratulations. I'm very happy for you for not watching this matchup. This was slow. There was a few botches and mistimed spots throughout it. It was very plotting at other points. When Owens is on the back foot, Kenta distracts the referee again. This allows Owens to hit a low blow on Goto. Kenta followed up with a running knee strike, and Chase Owens pins Goto for the Bullet Club to once again become IWGP Tag Team Champions after we just put the titles on back on Bishamon at Sakura Genesis. They've just put it back on Chase Owens and Kenta. Post-match, though, we get a little tease of what's next for the IWGP Tag Team Championships. Kenta and Owens collect their belts, and then out comes Hikuleo and El Phantasmo, GOD, as well as Shane Haste and Mikey Nichols, TMDK, teasing a possible 4-way title unification matchup for Dominion. So, hey, but I got to give credit, regardless of what I thought about the matchup. Chase Owens trolled me superbly and spoiled the results of this matchup by telling me.
You jinxed it, SP3.
No.
You put it into the atmosphere.
That's not how that works. That's not how that works. He trolled me. He told me
Gato
what was going to happen.
Tweet.
No.
Gato saw your tweet and he suddenly changed the card. He was like, right.
I'm not taking credit for that one. Nope. Can't get me to do that. J News, what did you think about this tag team matchup?
Let me say something, man. I understand that the half-assery is now part of the gimmick. I get it. I really, really do. But I don't want to watch it anymore. I refuse. So I
didn't watch it, but I feel bad for Goto and Yoshihashi, who really have spent a long time building up the belts.
From this day forward, I will not watch a Kenta match until someone tells me that it is good. That's it. So Sorry, man. You're
You
a
have
legend.
to do it for the reviews. You got to watch it for the reviews.
No, you don't understand. This is how show business works. I feed off of you, and then I'll feed off of Sonal. I'll get the context of what happened in the match.
I didn't even watch this
and then
match.
I'll say something of note, and then we go on to the next match. This is how the smart people who do what we do what we do. You understand what I'm saying? So at the end of the day, I'll let you do all the heavy lifting when it comes to the kata matches. I'll make a snark comment, and then we move on. That's all.
Can we just be some positives in this? I still love Bishamon together.
Bishamon is good. That's not the problem here. That's not the problem here. They just didn't have much to work with Kenta and Chase. So this was not a good matchup.
Again, like I said, I can't comment on the match itself because I was
you've had like 2-3 days to rewatch the matchup, but you didn't even take the time to rewatch it because you knew the quality.
I saw how many people, including you, because I always judge this on your stuff as well. Because like if it's a match I've not watched, I was like, don't watch it. I caught the ending of like all the chaos. I was like, oh, I think this probably just tells me everything I need to know.
No, yeah, absolutely. Listen, I don't even understand and know as to why Kenta is currently the Defy champion still.
He forgets the belt sometimes. He like leaves it and then he gets is it Shimoto?
I don't know what's going on at this point. I can't watch it anymore. I'm sorry. The man's a living legend of Japanese professional wrestling, and he's doing this on purpose.
It's like he's given up. He's given up, but like he just wants to continue winning the money.
I can't get behind it, man.
He's still collecting that paycheck. That's for damn sure. Dustin says, "What's the point if they aren't going to just merge the damn belts? We don't need the strong belts." It's true. Your tag team division is not strong enough for two tag team titles.
Exactly.
I mean, maybe like last year, but the minute they got rid of Dangerous Tekkers, that's when it all went to shit.
It's a wrap. It wasn't even big enough last year to have two separate tag team titles and trios titles. Nah, you're wilding.
Especially now because you don't have the strong shows anymore.
Like AEW don't have enough for the Ring of Honor tag team titles, AEW tag team titles, and AEW trios titles. So I don't think New Japan has enough. So
wait, Twan Max says I think Gato flips a coin 5 minutes before. No. Gato looks at SP3's tweets 5 minutes before the match and decides the results.
You're giving me way too much credit here. But let's talk about a match that we will be talking positively about. Up next was the Never Openweight Championship bout. Shingo Takagi defending against Bullet Club War Dogs, Gabe Kidd. We kicked off the matchup with an intense stare down in the middle of the ring. Once the bell rang, both men ran at each other with lariats. We get an intense opening sequence. Both men start trading heavy strikes until Kidd lands a big suplex for the first advantage of the matchup. On the outside, Kidd connects with chops and whips and headbutts. Kidd whips Shingo into the guardrail really hard to the point that the feed goes out on the telecast. To follow up, Kidd drops Shingo with a chair shot and a suplex on the floor. Nearly gets a count out, but Shingo gets back into the ring. A brainbuster hit, which Shingo hits a brainbuster with a down Shingo, though. Kidd turns his attention. He goes to the outside, starts talking shit to Desperado. He spits at Desperado. Kidd runs around the ring, giving Shingo time to recover. Shingo answers with a barrage of strikes, but Kidd cuts him off with a big suplex. Shingo lands a suplex of his own. We get Shingo heading to places Kidd on the top rope. On the top, Kidd locks on a choke where he's just where Shingo's feet are just dangling and he's choking him out. The ref has to break it up. Kidd then hits a brainbuster for a 2 count. Kidd followed up with a superplex, but Shingo powered up out of it and hit a Made in Japan for a near fall. We get another strike battle that took place after Kidd reversed Shingo's attempt to finish things. After trading lariats and slaps and headbutts, Shingo takes Kidd's head off with a pumping bomber. He follows up with the Made in Japan, but that's reversed into a power driver by Kidd. Before Kidd could follow up, Shingo lands a sliding lariat, and both men are down. Another major strike off. Shingo floors Kid with a lariat again. Shingo then tries for the last of the dragon, but Kid hits another power driver. He follows up with a headbutt, but Kid loopies himself, and he's unable to pin Shingo afterwards. Kid tries for another power driver, but Shingo reverses it. He gets a quick sequence where he hits a pumping bomber, a Shingo driver for a near fall, and then finally he picks him up, hits the last of the dragon. 1, 2, 3. An absolutely phenomenal, strong style classic between Shingo Takagi and Gabe Kidd. I tweeted it out as this match was going on. This was restoring the New Japan feeling. This was the New Japan strong style that we all loved, that we all became fans of, and we saw it for a good 20 minutes between these two men. Man, I love this matchup. I gave it 4 3/4 stars. One of the best matches of the year from New Japan Pro Wrestling. Post-match, in the post-match comments, Shingo is interrupted by the KOPW champion, Yuya Uemura, who challenges him for a matchup for the Never Openweight Championship this Saturday at Resurgence. Let's see if Shingo can add another gem to this run as Never Openweight Champion. But my Lord, what a match with Gabe Kidd here. What did you think, Sonal?
I tweeted this during the show. It's a thing of beauty. It was a thing of beauty. It wasn't just the wrestling itself. It was the storytelling throughout. So we had the first near pin. Gabe got cocky. Didn't do it. Went against him. The next time, he could have gone for the pin, but he had too much adrenaline, too much desire to prove himself, so he was locked himself loopy. And while in one sense, I think Gabe should have won. It's his time. I think that it's also now built into the narrative that everyone has been saying, and there's linking. Gabe has all the tools. He just doesn't know how to control it. He is just slightly unhinged, slightly... Not like I was going to say, he's just not in control of anything. He lets things get to him. And that, as any wrestler, that is the worst thing that can happen, that you can't have control. And that is only contrasted by Shingo's ability to have that same passion. But with decades of experience, he has honed it in. And this was the perfect, I mean, if anyone watched All Together today, you'll know that at the end of the show, Gabriel Kidd jumped a certain Noah champion. So I think that the Shingo match perfectly set up Gabe as someone who can do these big main event, well, it's not main event, but these big title shots with these big guys. But when it comes to people like Shingo, he still will not be able to do it. Could he do it with Kaito in a few months? Someone who is similar age, similar experience. I don't know, but personally, I think Gabe winning was a nice narrative to continue what has always been Gabe's issues since joining War Dogs.
Yeah, that was a great part that you mentioned about like the storytelling, the character work from Gabe was top notch. It was exceptional throughout this matchup, and the juxtaposition with Shingo and his overall control of his rage. That's why he's the dragon. J News, what did you think about Kidd versus Shingo?
I was about to interject during Sonal's retelling of what was going on there, but you have to say it when you need to say it, and you were looking for the words to describe Gabe Kidd, and he describes it perfectly every time he's out in the street, every time he's in a ring, every time he's backstage. He's a madman, He's
a fucking madman. That's it. That's what I was gonna say. He's a fucking madman.
So at the end of the day, I would like to say that Gabe Kidd needs to be protected at all costs. I know I say this a lot, but what he's able to do character-wise is one thing. But to be able to back it up in the ring and do what he did in this match and wrestle that style that I know not a lot of people like to wrestle, and keep up with one of the best in the ring today, was just a testament to all the training, all the years, and everything else that Gabe Kidd's put out there throughout his wrestling tenure, man. Props to Gabe on a loss props to Gabe, because gold is coming soon. At the end of the day, gold.
I thought they were gonna crown him here. I thought it was time.
He's got a match against Eddie Kingston though as well, doesn't he, coming up? So
yeah, on Saturday.
Yeah. So that's because I thought that when we did the preview for Dontaku, I was telling SP, I was like, I don't think they do it here for whatever reason. I feel like they'll do it in the US. They'll have him beat Eddie because Eddie's lost all the other 2 belts from the Triple Crown altogether, so he'll lose the 3rd one. And then they'll do something different where first of all, what he did with the whole Noah situation this morning or yesterday or whatever, by confronting and beating down Kiyomiya.
Can I say something that's really funny though? I saw this discourse among a few fans that obviously, Moxley come as an AEW guy, challenged for the belt and won it, and there were people being annoyed, and someone compared it. They were like, so to all the people who were complaining about that, what are your thoughts? Because a lot of people are quite excited about Gabe Kidd doing this. But I saw some people basically be like, well, then aren't you being hypocritical? Because at least with Moxley, at least he's been in New Japan. Gabe Kidd is just out here like, he just lost the title match against Shingo. And he's like, you know what? Fuck it. I'm going to go for Kaito Kiyomiya in that top belt.
All I have to do is jump him. I skipped the line.
Exactly. Because you know why? He's a madman.
No, I loved his whole demeanor when he came out with the hoodie over his eyes, with the madman robe as well as the tights. Great stuff. Is probably his best match yet.
Man, it's best. Yeah, definitely. I would definitely agree with that. I don't know how much more praise I can heap upon freaking Gabe Kidd at this point.
But I also want to give kudos to Shingo because, he really shows why he's such a veteran that he can. Although he won, really, we all admit that Gabe was in the forefront, and Shingo allowed that. He made the match good enough that we were like, this is not a one horse race, but allowed Gabe to be put on show to be the one who is showcasing more. When Shingo could have easily stolen the spotlight as champion.
Yeah, for sure. Shingo Takagi, in my estimation, till this day, still the best IWGP World Heavyweight Champion New Japan's ever had. So
that belt's just cursed in it. So he
yeah.
To be fair. Next up, IWGP Global Heavyweight Championship was up for grabs. Nick Nemeth defending for the 2nd time in 2 nights against David Finlay. This match was a lot more intense than their first encounter. We had more of a grudge between the 2 guys. We had Finlay meet Nemeth in the entryway during his entrance, and they started brawling to the ring. Both men started trading momentum on the outside before they finally made their way in the ring. Once Finlay returned to the ring, he maintained the lead with more simplistic offense like he did against Tsuji. Eventually, both men rolled to the floor. Finlay followed up by darting Nemeth into the turnbuckle post. Finlay then ran a lap around the ring and hit some running strike of sorts, but Nemeth sidestepped him and sending him crashing into the barricade. We get Oblivion by Finlay for a near fall. Finlay was able to maintain his momentum, but Nemeth eventually came back with a Faymaster for a near fall of his own. Finlay responded with a pair of power bombs, followed by the overkill, and then that was it. 1, 2, 3. David Finlay picks up the victory to become the new and 2-time Global Heavyweight Champion. I thought this was a good matchup, but it felt like the finish just abruptly came out of nowhere. And I kind of had the same feeling with Nemeth and Tanahashi from the night before. It doesn't feel like the Nemeth matches build to the finish. It just feels like they have a match and then the finish comes.
I think he's still adapting to the style, but to the point I made earlier, I don't know. Like I said, I'm speaking for myself in this instance. I think this was Nick's best match yet.
I gave it 3.5 stars. It was good. So
I think adapting to that style, the crescendo style of wrestling, where you build up until that finish. Obviously, it's different than the WWE style of wrestling. They don't necessarily build. They build a storyline, but they don't build the match in the ring like that, is what I'm saying from a style perspective. So Yeah, it's just him still adapting, but I think this is his best match yet. If he continues to go at it, he continues to come back to New Japan Pro Wrestling, I can see even bigger and better matches for Nick Nemeth in the future. I'll say this here. I said it earlier in the other podcast with me and Dolores. I think Nick Nemeth in the G1 can be quite the venture for him if he really wanted to grind it out.
It's a real test. He can work outside the WWE bubble.
Yeah. And definitely learn the style, not master it, obviously, but learn it even more and become better at it. So we'll see how it goes. Hopefully he is in the G1. I'd like to see him in that particular environment. It'll be his first tournament environment since amateur days. So we'll see how it goes. But yeah, man, I thought the match was decent. David Finlay being global champion, not sure what it does for David, being that he was already global champion already.
It re-established him. He beats a former WWE World Heavyweight Champion to get the victory, and that means that he has victories this year over Will Ospreay, Jon Moxley, and Nick Nemeth. Not anybody else on the New Japan roster has that to their resume.
All right, so then
I understood the point of why they did the whole Nemeth title run was to eventually put over Finlay stronger.
He needs to talk that into existence. He needs to make sure people know that. I didn't.
Sonal, well, he's been cutting great promos. Yeah, I know you like to hate on him, but I cannot hate. His promo game has gotten up. Sonal,
it's really improved.
Yeah, what did you think about Finlay and Nemeth here?
I think one problem, and it's always going to happen. Maybe your rating was slightly lower, is what it followed. You are following, it followed.
Yeah.
Like we said, a match of the year contender that could easily have been the main event. Imagine if we'd have had this match yesterday. You might have given it a higher rating because it would have probably been one of the better matches. It's just is a thing. It was, I think, one of Nick Nemeth's better matches, like one of his best matches that he's had here. Finlay really, this is another one that is cemented that Finlay is going in the right direction. I know Jay News is not a Finlay advocate, but as someone who was a massive Finlay fan but was very open to criticizing him, I'm now seeing the full circle come back. I'm seeing what I wanted from him from the start. And I kind of like that. Remember when Finlay lost, it was the whole thing of he had a cage match and then they gave him this. So Finlay was almost healing it. He's like, right, well, you had a match against Tanahashi. Well, now, you know what? Put it against it tomorrow so you can see what it's like having back-to-back matches. And then he won. So again, in that sense, it's a heel because
he proved himself right. Yeah.
Yeah. And also theoretically, while you could say, oh, but that's a heel thing. But Finlay also had a really big match. So he is proving, he didn't say it, but you do WWE. I'm New Japan. I can have back-to-back matches and I can beat you. Whereas you had 2 matches back-to-back, similar time, similar pace, but you couldn't do it. And that is Finlay inadvertently going, look, eyes on me. I'm back. I am New Japan through and through. Not a part-timer, not someone who isn't even signed to the company.
Yeah, I dig it. I thought that Finlay was going to be a contender for Moxley for the World Championship, but I think this is better use of him, building him up in the Global Heavyweight
I don't think he's ready for IWGP yet.
Yeah. But the main event proved that the person in the main event wasn't ready either. But anyway, Jon Moxley defended against Ren Narita for the IWGP World Heavyweight Championship. Right from the start, we get House of Torture interference. They jump Moxley on his way to the ring. Narita attacks Moxley with a chair to further his lead. Eventually, they get in the ring. House of Torture beat down Moxley in the fucking ring as well until Moxley rallies and clears it out. Moxley then hits Narita with the chair, whips him in and out of the ring. Narita answers with a big knee and establishes some type of control, but Moxley's able to fight back. He hits a curb stomp, a tope suicida to the floor. House of Torture distracts Moxley long enough, but he responds by throwing Narita through some hardware. He hits a nice little uranagi through the tables, which just was a sick bump, which Narita had like a scar on his back afterwards. El Desperado came out to help Moxley, after House of Torture handcuffed Shota Umino and had to send him to the back. Eventually, Desperado freed Shota from the handcuffs, and he came out to help out Moxley. Somehow he freed himself, making the save for Moxley as House of Torture were jumping him. This leads to Moxley and Narita being left alone, and we get a pair of Death Riders by Moxley on Narita to pick up the victory and retain the IWGP World Heavyweight Championship. Post-match, him and Shooter embrace each other, but they know that they are less than 7 days away from a showdown for the IWGP World Heavyweight Championship that will be, of course, better than this by the time the bell even rings.
I mean,
Because
anything
this was not
bad.
this was not good. This was not as bad as Sonata versus Evil a couple of months
But that's
ago.
evil. That's evil.
But this was like 2 3/4 stars is the best.
Can I just say the problem happened, and like I know the tag match wasn't great, but Shingo versus Gabe was amazing. Nemeth versus Finlay was like pretty decent, like one of their best matches between the two of them. And then you had this, like not even Moxley can make House of Torture good. And Narita, especially the I hate to say it, the young boy, the little one who is still, while his character is better than when he was the Shibata 2.0, his wrestling is just like everyone else in House of Torture. He joins House of Torture and he forgets that he's a pro wrestler.
Yeah.
So let me just say that there's a few things I had issue with in this match. Outside of the fact that it was a bad match, right? We all agree that it was a bad match.
Oh.
I take umbrance and issue with the fact that Ren Narita seems, to Sonal's point, forgot how to wrestle.
But it's the same with Show as well. Show has done the same.
Shibata would be disappointed in his striking ability. Dude, how do you not understand how to lay the forearm in is beyond me. Where is the impact? Who taught you to throw the blows? Like, what are you doing to me right now? Like, my 5-year-old niece hits me harder than that. Like,
the problem is, it's like we saw, with Jack Perry, you can have House of Torture matches with good wrestling, but they're not showing this. And Narita, out of anyone, needed to prove he can wrestle.
Yes. And I was going to say this. There was 3 to 4 minutes in this match where he actually did show his wrestling ability. How long was the match, SP3? I know you have the stat.
Felt like forever.
Had to be like over 20 minutes.
Dude, 3 to 4 minutes in a match out of a 20-minute match? Come on now. What are we talking about here? In an IWGP World Heavyweight Championship match. Let's throw all the House of
25 minutes, 18 seconds.
Let's throw all the House of Torture shenanigans shit to the side. Right? If you can't even remember your Noge/LA Dojo training in this match, I have issue with that. Fuck the character shit sometimes, man.
Doesn't belong in an IWGP title match.
This was not it, man. This is what the letdown. We just got 2 matches prior, one of the best strong style matches we've seen in recent memory. And then we get let down in the main event?
Yep.
That's a problem.
Because they didn't just let them wrestle. It had to be a House of Torture matchup.
But I want to know, is whose decision? Was this a thing that Narita has forgotten how to wrestle, that he no longer is able to separate that? Or is it the people, they say Dick Togo books these House of Torture. Is it Dick Togo doing this? Like, I'm now starting, like we have complaints of like Shota, Tsuji, and Uemura have sometimes not had the best matches. They've sometimes had, but you can always see that they have trained and that it is just a case of they need to work out, they need experience. With Narita, since he joined House of Torture, I'm not seeing anything that resembles the young lion that I loved, who I thought, if he wants to come back and be a junior heavyweight, he is going to be one of the most dominating. He is going to do a new style of junior wrestling. This has taken all that potential, like Show is awful, but he had that time to showcase. Like, he is multiple-time IWGP Junior Tag Champion. He has done this and that. He's had amazing matches to maybe say, okay, he wants a bit of time just to be silly. Narita, he doesn't have anything to show. It's similar with Kanemaru. He doesn't have anything to show that he can now suddenly. What if in 2 years he turns babyface? He's forgotten how to wrestle because he's not had to do it.
To me, it just didn't make any sense. He didn't work he snaked his way into a freaking title shot at the end of the day. My hope is that he doesn't cost Shooter that match in resurgence.
Oh, please don't have any House of Torture.
Is he there?
Yes, he's booked for the show.
So that's and
do you want to know the only plus? It's not even that much of a plus.
Yeah.
Sho Kanemaru won't be there. So that's you already half the amount of interference that you might get.
I mean, but at the end of the day, I just to me them doing what they're doing, and it's not with all the young guys. Like Narita's getting the shit end of the stick here with this crap, and it's not benefiting him at all. Like the benefit of the House of Torture all went to Jack Perry, and it's insane because he's not even a New Japan guy. So I think with all that being said. Like, to Sonal's point, Ren Narita is a part of a freaking dojo class of young lions that are near and dear to my heart. And for me to see him not be able to transition into mainline New Japan stuff is like, I don't even know what to do. And I get it. Not everybody cuts the freaking mustard. But it's like,
but he was supposed to. I feel like he had the potential to.
Yeah, he had the potential. He was supposed to. And this was not it for him. This was not it. And it's not. And for all intents and purposes, for the people who talk shit about Moxley and everything else, this was not on Mox. This was not on Mox. So yeah, I'm sorry.
No,
it's kind of heartbreaking. Like I'm like with J News, where that class of young lions were the ones that when I started watching New Japan, they were this class that was there. They were still shaved, like the way they say, the first few batches you can't tell them apart because they have the same look. Like you can't see any differentiation. And I watched them, and I call them even though two of them are older than me, I call them like my New Japan babies because I've watched them. And as much as maybe the booking isn't always great with all of them, I watch Shota, Yuya, and Tsuji, and I go, right, I'm watching them grow. Slowly, they're getting these chances. They're showcasing what they can do. Even Uemura deciding to eat a lemon because he has to do in the King of Pro Wrestling. Again, it's a nice different side. Narita has not... I wish I could go back to have Mini Shibata over this.
Yeah. Honestly, Mini Shibata was better than this. I agree. We complained about it, but now we know.
Now it's like the better thing. We wish we had it back.
That was the better option, but we can have it back. Hopefully, they learned their lesson and they realize that.
I don't think they will. SPC, they won't. They won't.
Maybe the IWGP World Heavyweight Championship is just not for Ren Narita right now.
Well, I'm going to stick to my guns that he needs to be a junior. He needs to leave House of Torture and he needs to be a junior.
He can't do that now. He can't go back to being a junior, but he just needs to get out of House of Torture.
Can we have some revisionist history and go back to the time where he was primed to become the New Japan World TV Champion?
Yes. It's all Zack Sabre Jr.'s fault. Let's blame Zack Sabre Jr. for this.
Hey, I'm not going to blame Zack. He gave us a great run. But let us know in the chat your match of the night, your MVP, LVP for both night 1 and night 2 of Wrestling Dontaku. We'll do night 1 first. Let's put our thumbs in the middle for Wrestling Dontaku 2024, night 1 in 3, 2, 1. Thumbs in the middle from all of us for night 1. All right, thumbs in the middle for night 2 of Wrestling Dontaku in 3, 2, 1. Slight thumbs up from me and Sonal and a thumbs up from Jay. And now it's like,
you know what? It would
Word
get a
has-
thumbs up. It would get a thumbs up if it wasn't for the main event. Like, I
Yeah.
could ignore the tag
Fair.
match. That's fine. The rest was great. It's just it's my sadness. It's the sadness of watching Narita in that position. I can't.
Yeah.
Can't.
Can't
Yes.
knock it. Can't knock it. Night one, my match of the night is Zack Sabre Jr. versus Jeff Cobb. Jay News.
Same.
Sonal.
Same.
Match of the night for night two, Shingo and Gabe Kid.
Yeah.
Obvious.
No question.
Unanimous.
That's the match of like maybe
The match of the
year.
weekend. Yeah, for all of Dontaku, I'd say it's Shingo and Gabe over Cobb and ZSJ. And then
I think
MVP.
it doesn't link because obviously Zack and Cobb had that 15-minute time limit. Like if you gave them longer, they might have been able to, but with that 15-minute constraint, you can never compare to what Shingo and Gabe did.
Yeah. MVP for night one, I'm gonna give it to David Finlay. He got everything he wanted. He got his title shot for the next night, and he beat Yota Tsuji. Night one MVP, J News.
Hold on, brother. Night one, I would say Jeff Cobb. Let's go, baby. Jeff Cobb for night one. MVP.
Sonal.
I was gonna say Jeff Cobb. Just 5 years in the making. It felt like we'd earned something. Something has finally come to fruition.
And night two MVP, I am going to give it to. I might have to give it to David Finlay again, your new champion. I might have back to back. Yeah, he's my MVP for the entire weekend. Sonal.
Obviously, it's Ren Narita, isn't it? It's
MVP?
It's obviously Gabriel Kidd. Like, I get the Finlay thing. I think Finlay was great. I don't know, just for considering how long I've been watching Gabe Kidd since I first started when I was watching him in WCPW, to see him grow and to see him put together a match with amazing wrestling and storytelling with someone like Shingo. It's like you watch somebody grow for so long and you're like, wow, like you can see the difference and it's amazing.
J News.
I'm with Sonal here. Gabe Kidd gets the MVP for night two. No question. Even in a loss, that kid, he's money. He's money, man.
LVP for night one, I'm gonna give it to LVP. I'm trying to think. Damn. Who lost? Oh, Tanahashi. You shouldn't be in main events anymore.
Oh,
Sonal. Sorry, I said it. Sorry, I said it. I said what I said. Sonal.
I never. Tanahashi will never get LVP for me.
That's fair.
Yujiro. I know he's in an opening match.
Just gave it to any House of Torture member.
No.
J News.
You know what? There's something about Yujiro. Like, Evil has had some, like, he's had his part at the top. Yujiro, I just feel he's unnecessary. He doesn't even have Peter anymore.
J News.
It used to be much sweeter when we used to be able to see Peter. I'll tell you that right now.
At least it made up for it.
But night one LVP. Oh man, that's a tough way to go. I would want to say, yeah, I'm gonna go with SP3, man.
I'm just saying.
It was tough. It was a rough block.
You're reaching if you say anyone else, because the real thing that matters on this show is the top three matches. Who's the LVP out of those top three matches? It's Tanahashi. He shouldn't have been in the main event.
Tanahashi can do no wrong in my eyes.
I know, but he did wrong by being in the main event.
I mean, SP3, you know when you have me on True Heel Heat, that I'm going to go with my heart every time. So if I think you're shitting on one of my guys, I will not stand for it.
That is fair. And LVP for night two,
I think it's unanimous.
It's Ren Narita.
It's Ren Narita.
Ren Narita.
There's no way around
it. You could just say that match is the LVP.
Also true.
Yeah.
Sonal, thank you so much for joining us. It was great to have the band all back together. Let everybody know where they can follow you on social media and subscribe to your YouTube channel.
So you can obviously find me on like Sonal's Life on YouTube. I posted a review of the Dontaku show on the Saturday and the thing. On Wednesday, I have my Best of Super Junior preview. I will probably most likely be watching Resurgence on Saturday, so there'll be a review for that. But if you want to check out where you can find everything I'm doing, you can follow me on social media at wrestling_chat.
Absolutely. J News, let everybody know where they can follow you.
You can catch me on the internet live on the Twitter space at John LYFNMG, your friendly neighborhood moviegoer. Catch me on the Twitter, catch me on the IG there. Also catch me on Monday mornings, me with the lovely Dolores on the Workhorse Wrestling Network. Seeing Stars is our show, talking all things indie and Japanese wrestling, because that's what we like to do.
Indeed. And you can follow me on the Twitter machine at TrueHillSP3. You can follow the gang, Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, TikTok at True Hill Heat. Check out all the great content from this past weekend that we got on the channel right now, like our WWE Backlash review of myself, True Draw Josh, and Rob Wilkins of Fightful. Check out True Hill Heat Flagship podcast from yesterday with myself, Miss Chrissy Love, and the True Jaw Josh, talking the entire week of professional wrestling, the Elite's attack on Kenny Omega, the re-signing of Seth Rollins and Drew McIntyre, plus much, much more, including WWE Backlash. And go over to True Hill Heat Sports and Entertainment, where we have our X-Men 97 Episode 8 review right now. Go over and check it out. But for Sonal, for J News, it is me, your True Hill Phenom, SP3. This has been our NJPW Wrestling Dontaku 2024 review. We are signing off until next